This year, I'm going to have you start keeping track of the books that you've read, hopefully from starting in 6th grade all the way through middle school and beyond, on a website called Padlet. I'm thinking you might have used that in some of your classes last year. I know in health you might have used it, but it's like an online poster board. You can add pictures, you can add text, you can add videos. So I'm going to show you what mine looks like. I'm at the 7th grade website. We're going to go to Language Arts, Mrs. Culleton, and on my Reading Rocks page, you'll see Mrs. Culleton's list of books. This is my Padlet. Might take a couple minutes for you to load up if you're going to look at it. But it's a good resource for you if you're looking for a new book to read. Sometimes I'll write, a little blurb about it. Sometimes I give them star ratings based on how much I like them. You'll see that they're numbered. I like to keep track of the books I've read throughout the school year and summer. So you'll see this was my very first summer read given to me by a student last year. And then, and so on. So I started numbering them and I'm at 19 right now. And today is July 22nd. So I have every hope that I could get to maybe closer to 25 or 30 by the time the school year starts and I see you. So what you're going to do today, you're going to get back the paper that you used last year in 6th grade to keep track of your books read. And if you didn't keep track of them, I'm going to ask you just to do your best by memory. If you're new to Chardon or maybe your teacher didn't have you keep track of them, just think about adding some books that you've read over the course of the last year or over the summer. So we're going to start by going to a website called Padlet. And what I would advise that you did is keep this screencast running and then pause it after each direction so that you can do the activity and then start the screencast again. So you don't have to keep all of the steps from memory because there are going to be a lot of steps. Now Padlet's kind of cool because it's one of those Google apps, so you should be able to click login with Google. And I just logged in, so it is going to ask me. It might ask me which account I want to use, so I'm going to click my school account. And yours might ask or prompt you to give permission. You'll just click OK. And this brings you to a little dashboard of all the different Padlets if you've used it before that you see. So you can see I have several Padlets I've done before. For today, we're going to create a new one. So you're going to click where it says plus, make a Padlet. And again, I would pause it as you do that and then start playing it again, kind of toggle back and forth between the tab that has your screencast and the tab that has your Padlet. Now you'll see here that there are lots of different ways that you can do this. I kind of like doing it as a wall. I would advise that you either do it as a wall or a grid. Shelf might be nice if you want to keep track of your books by genre. You could maybe do that, but I'm going to use wall because I kind of like that one. And over on the right, it's going to bring up a menu. It's going to ask you to name your Padlet. So I would like for you to use just your first name. So I'm going to call this Mrs. Culleton's. I'm going to call it my practice Padlet, but you could call it your list of books read or your reading list, whatever you want to call it. And then you can give it a little description. A record of all the books I've read. Here you can pick your wallpaper. If you don't like any of these wallpapers, click more. It'll bring up lots of different choices. I think I like this little city one. I'm going to use that. And then if you click the back arrow, it'll bring you back to that main screen. Post color, guess you can do light or dark. You can pick your font. Let's see. Well, I kind of like this one. And symbol, I don't think we need to worry about that. Here's the address of your URL for your Padlet. If you want to share it with me, which you will later, you can also just copy and paste the link from up here. So we're going to click Next. We're done with that part. And I do want you to change your settings here to public because you're going to share it with me, and then I'm going to share it with everybody in the class. And this is a good place for you if you're not sure what to read next, and you see that a friend of yours liked a book that you had, you can go on their Padlet and check it out. Now, in order to do this, though, you also need to change this to can read. You don't want anyone to be able to go to your Padlet and be able to write on that page. Okay, and then you can click Next and start posting. So what you have here is just a blank poster board with an image in the background. To start adding information, you're going to double click, and here it's going to add right into the middle of my page. So I'm going to start by adding a title of a book. So I'll use Shatter Me. That's one of the books I just finished reading. Now I'm going to open a new tab and try to find a book cover for it. So I'm going to put Shatter Me book cover, search on Google, click on images, and I'm going to find a book cover, and this one looks just like the one that I read. I always like to try to find the version of the book that I actually had on my shelf or that I read. Now when you go to copy this, make sure when you double click it here, you want to copy the image address, not the image itself. We're going to take the link to this picture. Oops, go to the right one here. And where this little hyperlink is, if I open that up, I can paste the link in there. It needs to be a JPEG. You might have to play around. Sometimes some of these images don't come up. You'll click load and it'll just think and think and think. If it doesn't work, just X out of it and go try a different image. Okay, but I'm going to use my little rating system. I'll call this a 4-star book. Really loved the beginning, but it got kind of unrealistic. Although it was dystopian fiction, so I shouldn't be too surprised. But I really did like this book. Now, when I'm done, whatever text I want to put in there, I'm going to click out of the box and you'll see that it's loaded, and then I can go add another book that I read. Oh, let me see. Oh, Anne of Green Gables. That was a good one. So I'm going to type the title in there, Anne of Green Gables. And I give that one a definite 5 stars. It's a classic. I've read it over and over again, and I never get bored with it. Read again and again. Okay, and so now I'm going to go back to my page where I was searching for book covers. Look up Anne of Green Gables. And let's see if I can find the version. Oh, let's see. Looks like the one I had. Copy image address again, not the image, but the image address. Paste it here under the link. And here it says, please enter a valid link. Sometimes the picture doesn't work. I'm going to hit cancel. Go back over here, and maybe I'll try this one. And again, copy image address. Paste it, and there we go. So sometimes it's just a trial and error. And what I like about doing this grid pattern is that my most recent one is always going to show up here. Once I have a whole bunch of it, the first one or the most recent one that I add will pop up here. Okay, so what I would like for you to do today is just continue adding your books. I'll give you days sometimes during the week where I might say, okay, if you have time, update your Padlet with the books that you've been reading. In your free time, you can add to them. But I would like for you to use this as a means of keeping track of your books. And periodically, I'm going to ask you to share it with me so I can kind of see what you're reading. The last step you're going to do, and actually you don't need to be done with your Padlet to do this. You could do this right now if you don't want to forget. You're going to go up here and copy. And then on my web page, and I'll show you in class, there will be a link where you can enter your Padlet page so that I can uplink it to my website, and you'll find them all here. So eventually I'll have everybody's name here, and then a link that goes to your Padlet, and then we can all have access to each other's. Okay, so good luck today.